In order to decrease the future probability of a behavior, we utilize proactive strategies, also known as antecedent-based interventions. In this section, we will be discussing function-based proactive behavior supports. If you suspect that your student's behavior may be due to gaining attention, you will want to think about ways to provide your student with attention throughout the class period, in the absence of the undesired behavior. For example, give praise for what the student is doing correctly, have them be a leader in the class, give them a job or a task to do in the class, spend a few minutes before class with the student. This will help provide frequent attention. You can also do frequent check-ins. Start at every 2 to 3 minutes for appropriate behavior, then increase those time intervals as the student becomes successful. You may also want to teach the student to gain attention appropriately by raising hand. Some additional things, you can teach the student how to interact appropriately with peers and adults, and also teach waiting skills. If you suspect that your student's behavior may be due to escape or to avoid something, you will want to think about ways to provide your student with appropriate ways to escape or avoid throughout the class period. I know that may sound counterintuitive because our students are at school to complete and work and follow directions. However, if our student is engaging in an undesired behavior to avoid or completely escape a task, then we want to be able to allow for escape within our control, our instructional control, while increasing task completion. We do this by providing a variety of supports. In my opinion, the most successful way of doing this is by allowing a student to take breaks. Breaks can consist of sitting quietly at his or her desk, quietly watching a YouTube video, taking a walk around the building, essentially anything that allows a student time away from the undesired task. The goal would be to have the student be able to quietly take a break from the task and independently come back to that task. If you think about it, we as adults have learned this skill. We are constantly taking our mini breaks. I bet some of you have already let your mind wander for a few moments during this training, but are able to quickly come back to paying attention to what I'm saying. This is what we need to teach our students. And to do that, here are a few tips. I utilize visual schedules a lot, and they can consist of first then, checklists, desk schedules. You can also use token economy systems. Basically, teaching our student to work for a period of time and then take a break so they know what is expected of them before they can actually escape that task. Remember, token economies are not just for our most impacted students. They can be used across populations and settings. However, they will look different depending on the class setting and functioning level of that student. We can use star charts, point systems, self-monitoring systems, tally marks, or just a completed work assignment. Also consider front-loading your student on what needs to be completed within a time frame. You could also consider modifying that task. Provide some forced choices, so instead of the student doing all the problems, they can do odd or even. Check for task readiness, see how they're feeling, if they need a little bit more support, if they need more academic support. If you suspect that your student's behavior may be due to gaining access to a preferred item, activity, or person, you want to think about ways to provide your student access to that item, activity, or person throughout that class period. In the absence of an undesired behavior, by allowing the student to earn time with the desired item, activity, or person. Again, you can use visual schedules, letting the student know when they will have access to that item. Token economies, again, are something to be used. Something to note, too, with token economies, you may want to earn for task completion. And as tasks are completed, you may want to use a dense schedule. What that means is if a student is in math class and you know math is very difficult, they may want to have, you may want to provide more frequent reinforcement, say, versus in his English class. In his English class, he's doing fairly well then you would provide less reinforcement in that class. You may also want to think about teaching the student to wait for a preferred item until it's available, and teach the student to request as well. Also, be clear about what is available at any given time. And when things aren't available, let them know when they will be available or what an alternative activity they can choose. So, for example, the Chromebook will be available after we finish answering 5 math problems. Mrs. Rubio is available after lunch. So that way the student knows what to expect and when to expect.